So, returning your attention back to January 9th, at approximately 2:30 p.m. at the Cohasset Police Station in 2023. Ms. Gilman, can we have what's been pre-marked as Exhibit 100, file number 4239, published? Sir, do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, I do.
What is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph of the Volvo I examined on January 9th.
And where is it located, sir?
It's located at the Cohasset Police Department inside their garage.
Ms. Gilman, can we now have Exhibit 101, file number 4250? Sir, what is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph of the front of the same Volvo that I examined.
Now, how did you conduct an examination of the Volvo that day?
Initially, I did a sketch and diagram as well as take some notes based on the vehicle prior to any analysis. So what it looked like from the exterior before I went inside of it and before I started performing any sort of biological testing. I then gathered information from the investigators on scene that were pertinent to the case so that I could determine what forensic linkages I needed to be looking for, and then proceeded with those biological screening tests at that point.
What was the overall condition of the exterior of the vehicle?
Overall, the exterior was very clean. There was an apparent hair noted in the front passenger exterior door handle.
And what was the overall condition of the interior of the vehicle?
The interior was overall very clean with miscellaneous items throughout most of the vehicle.
Ms. Gilman, can we now have Exhibit 102, which is file number 4275? Sir, do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, I do.
What did you see in the vehicle as far as child safety seats?
There were two child safety seats, one located in the second row on the passenger side and another seat located in the third row on the driver's side.
Now, sir, what did you observe as far as any staining inside the vehicle?
There were two areas of visible staining that I noted, one being a red-brown stain on the front driver's side visor, and then there was brown stains noted on the front passenger side visor.
Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 103, which is file number 4283? Sir, directing your attention to the screen, what is it that we're looking at?
This is a photograph of the stain, the red-brown stain on the driver's side visor that I had marked with a ruler and the letter A.
And so you're the person who would put that piece of tape there?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 104, which is file 4286? What is it that we're looking at here, sir?
Similarly, this is a photograph of the brown stains on the front passenger visor that I marked B with the ruler tape.
Now, what did you find as far as gloves on the passenger side of the car?
On the passenger side of the vehicle, on the floor, there were two examination-style gloves. In the front passenger door pocket, there were two additional exam-style gloves in a Ziploc bag. And in the center console, there was 16 exam-style gloves inside of the center console.
Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 105, which is file number 4279? Sir, did you see this photograph?
Yes, I do.
Can you show us where you found gloves on the passenger side?
Yes. So on the right-hand side of the photograph on the floor, there are the light blue-colored gloves. Those would be the two gloves that I observed on the floor.
And Ms. Gilman, can we now have Exhibit 106, which is file number 4258? Sir, do you recognize this image?
Yes, I do.
And what is this an image of?
This is the open center console between the front driver and passenger seats with 16 examination-style gloves inside of it.
With the Volvo that afternoon, what were you able to do as far as any testing?
The testing I performed on the Volvo was the blood screening test we use at the laboratory. It is a color-changing test involving two chemicals. I'll take a clean swab and apply it to any areas that I'm interested in determining if there is potential blood present. It is a screening test, so it does not confirm the presence of blood. Additional testing would be needed, but the color test allows us to visualize stains that we can't see. So I applied this test throughout multiple areas inside the vehicle, looking for blood that was not visible to the naked eye. When it's negative, the swabs don't change any color after I add the chemical. chemicals. If it's positive, it will turn a pinkish violet sort of color after the addition of the chemicals. And prior to performing all of those tests, I made sure that my chemicals were working by using a positive and negative control on those chemicals.
And can you tell us what items might trigger a positive that are not human blood?
Yes, so there are vegetables such as cauliflower that have a peroxidase reaction, which is the main reaction in our blood screening test. So that is the main sort of reaction we're looking for. So occasionally those vegetables or legumes such as beans, those are examples of items that can have that positive reaction as well that are not blood.
Now, with this test, were there any areas that tested positive?
Yes, there were.
What areas of the VOVO tested positive?
Of all the areas I examined, there were 5 that tested positive for blood screening. One was the front driver side seat controls for the front seat. There was an area on the second row passenger floor mat that tested positive. The third row passenger seat was folded down, and the back side of that screened positive for the presence of blood. And 2 additional areas on the mat that was in the trunk that was covering the trunk storage space. There was 2 mats, 1 area on each of them, test screened positive for the presence of blood. And these were areas that I did not observe any visible staining.
And, sir, how many areas do you think you tested overall in the VOVO?
Overall, I would estimate approximately 40 to 50. I covered a lot of the contact areas, so steering wheels, door controls, the radio controls, handles, door pulls, the floor mats, the brake pedals, and many areas inside of the vehicle.
And so, did you have the opportunity to take any samples from the car?
Yes, I did.
And so, what did you take as far as samples from the VOVO that day?
From the Volvo, I collected the hair I previously mentioned, or the apparent hair that I mentioned from the exterior front passenger door handle. And then each of those 5 areas that screened positive for the presence of blood, I took samples from each of those individually for further testing back at the laboratory.
So, can you walk us through how do you take those samples? Like, how do you package them up? How does that work?
So the samples are collected with a set of swabs. I'll use a drop or 2 of clean water and apply it to the swabs. And then I'll take those swabs and go over those areas that screen positive to collect any sample that might be there. And then I'll put each of those samples into a glassine envelope, which then goes into a coin envelope that I'll transport back to the laboratory to be sealed and then stored properly for a further analysis.
How long do you think it took to examine the VOVO and collect the samples?
I would estimate it took me roughly 3.5 to 4 hours.
And after collecting the swabs, did you go back to the crime lab?
No, I did not.
Where did you go to next?
While I was examining the vehicle, I was requested to respond to 300 Forest Street in Peabody, Massachusetts.
What time do you think you got to 300 Forest Street?
I arrived there approximately 8:15 p.m.
And can you describe what 300 Forest Street in Peabody is?
300 Forest Street is a recycle and trash collection center located just off of Route 1.
And what did you see when you got to 300 Forest Street?
Mainly there was a large area where trash had been collected from various neighborhoods and areas, and there was a certain section of trash that had been separated from the larger piles that were there.
Ms. Gilman, can we have what's been marked as Exhibit 107, HAS 6556? Sir, do you recognize this image?
Yes, I do.
What is this an image of?
This is the entrance to the recycle and trash collection center, showing the mounds of garbage that are there.
And Ms. Gilman, can we have HAS 6564, what's been previously marked as Exhibit 108? And do you see this image, sir?
Yes, I do.
What is this an image of?
This is a continuation of the interior of the center.
And so the trash that you had the opportunity to see people going through, I'm going to direct your attention to what's been marked as Exhibit 109. Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 109, 6566? Was this mixed in with all the other stuff that we just saw, or is this somewhere else?
I'm unsure. This photo was taken prior to my arrival at the collection site.
Okay. But what is this a picture of?
This is a picture of a separated portion of the garbage in the center.
Now, what did you see? What did you see as far as people searching or going through the trash that night?
By the time I arrived, the main search had already been done, and there was bags of trash that were beginning to be emptied and inventoried by Crime Scene Services section and the detective unit that was there.
And so what was your role as far as dealing with these bags of trash that other officers were going through?
My main role was to assist with the other units that were present and to sift through the items in those bags to determine what items would be relevant for forensic analysis and then which units would be responsible for taking those items back to the laboratory afterward.
And so what was the first thing that was done when a bag was opened if there was some kind of evidentiary analysis that needed to be done on it?
The first thing that I did while the trash was being emptied was I had my notes where I noted the items that were coming out of the bags, and then I worked with the Crime Scene Services section trooper there as well, who photographed those items as they were coming out of the bag as well.
And how many different bags is it fair to say that you numbered the bags that you found to have some kind of value to you that night?
The Crime Scene Services section did use placards to denote the bags that they were removing and photographing.
All right. Ms. Gilman, can I ask that you publish what's previously been marked as Exhibit 51, file number 6810? Sir, do you recognize this image?
Yes, I do.
All right. So what's happening in this image that night when you were at 300 Forest Street?
This is the contents of one of the trash bags that was separated at the center.
And Ms. Gilman, can you now show us Exhibit 52, file number 6867? So now what are we looking at in relation to that last image, sir?
Since that last photograph was taken, bench paper was put out onto the floor of the collection center in order to preserve the integrity of the evidence that we were collecting at that point.
And so if it went onto a piece of paper like this, was it going to be collected?
Potentially, yes.
And this bag, sir, that we see on the screen for Exhibit 52, did you have the opportunity to know what was inside this bag, Bag 1?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us what was discovered inside of Bag 1?
Inside of Bag 1 was a pair of green boots, a black jacket with red-brown stains, and a bracelet inside of the pocket. There was a black purse with red-brown stains, a black wallet, and a pair of headphones inside of a case, as well as a pair of socks.
Was anything discovered as far as car keys?
Yes, there was a pair of Volkswagen keys as well.
Ms. Gilman, can we have what's been marked as Exhibit 110, file number 6869? Is this also the contents of that first bag?
That's correct.
And Ms. Gilman, can we now have Exhibit 111, which has been marked as 6870? Are these also the contents of that bag?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to ask you about another bag that you found or had the opportunity to examine. Was there a trash bag with the designation 2?
Yes, there was.
What was discovered inside of Bag 2?
Inside of Bag 2 were 2 white towels with red-brown stains, as well as a piece of tape with apparent gauze and red-brown stains inside of it.
Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 112, which is file number 6898? Sir, is that one of the towels that was found inside of Bag 2?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 113, file number 6902? Is that the second towel that was found inside the bag, sir?
Correct.
And what's the other items around the towel?
Those are miscellaneous tissues with red-brown stains.
Now, was there a Bag 3?
Yes, there was.
What was discovered inside of Bag 3?
Inside of bag 3 was a white bathrobe with red-brown stains.
Ms. Gilman, can we have what's been marked as Exhibit 114, file number 6906? Sir, is this a picture of what was found, the bathrobe and found inside of bag 3?
Yes, it is.
Now, was there a bag 4?
There was.
What was discovered inside of bag 4?
Inside of bag 4 was a pair of gray slippers with red-brown stains, a pair of dark gray slippers with red-brown stains and trace materials, as well as apparent hairs with red-brown stains.
So, Ms. Gilman, if we could have Exhibit 115, file number 6915. Sir, do you recognize this image?
Yes, I do.
Directing your attention to this image, the slippers there, which ones are those in the top of it?
The slippers located at the top are the gray slippers.
And at the bottom, what is there next to the left of the jar?
There is a leather strap wristwatch located as well.
And you had said that there was a second pair of slippers that was recovered from that bag?
That's correct.
Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 116, file number 6929? Sir, can you tell us where the second pair of slippers is in this photo?
Yes, at the bottom center of the photo, you'll see the dark gray slippers with the red-brown stains and trace material noted on the bottom of one of the slippers.
What is trace material?
Trace material could reference a number of things. In this particular instance, it references the apparent hairs or fibers that I observed on the slippers.
Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 117, file number 6934? Sir, what is the trace material you saw that night when you were at 300 Forest Street?
In the photo on the right-hand side of the overturned slipper, there are the apparent hairs and fibers that I called trace materials located on the right-hand side at the toe end of the slipper.
Sir, I'd like to ask you some questions about bag number 5. What did you observe what did you observe produced from bag 5?
Bag number 5 contained pieces of rug with red-brown stains on some of the pieces.
Ms. Gilman, can we have Exhibit 118, which is file number 6948? Sir, what are we looking at here?
These are pieces of a rug with red-brown stains that I noted on 2 of the pieces.